Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm small. Let me get bigger there on YouTube. Welcome in everybody. Sorry it took me a second to come on. I was running a little late. Let me make sure all my settings are good. Audio we're good, camera we're good. Okay, we're good. We're all good. We're all good. I didn't change any settings, so I was just making sure everyone could hear me okay. But welcome in, everybody. We are streaming over to TikTok, and YouTube is my main platform. And then we're also over on Twitter or X. So wherever you're following from, let us know. And I won't put the comments up because we'll be reading today. So I don't want to do that to you guys. Let me get the book ready. You'd think this was my first time doing a live, but welcome in everybody. How's everybody's, what is it? Thursday, Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Sorry if I made you think it was Thursday there for a minute. Oh, admirer. Well, let's see. How's everybody doing? Oh, David. Oh, yeah. Oh, David. Hello, David. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Dawn. Hey, DM. Hey, Cuff You. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Legal Lacey. Welcome in. Hey, Caught Up in Crime. Hey, Naomi. Sorry I was so late. I hate doing that to you guys. Hey, Maga Mama. Welcome in. Let's go, Pete said. Hey, Tom. How you doing? Is everybody enjoying their day today? Hey, Deaf Otter. Welcome in. Hey, Betsy. MAGA, Vincent's fault. Everything's Vincent's fault. Everything is. We just blame it on him. That's all we do. It's your Friday? Oh, that's awesome. Well, good, Betsy, good. We're starting to learn some new things in the book that we didn't know prior because of the people that have come out and kind of talked in the book. And a lot of like the Chapin family helped write this book. So a lot of people have been saying like, I can't believe they, released this before the trial and all this and that. And I understand that. I get that. But it wasn't just written by just a regular author. I mean, James Patterson has written, I don't even know how many books, countless books, probably 500 or more, 1,000. I don't know, a lot, right? So he's written a lot of books. I think that he took this book very seriously when he went into it. Just by reading 30 chapters of this book compared to, when we were reading the Howard Bloom book, and then we read that the other Idaho book, While Idaho Slept, or I think that's what it's called. Those two books were good, but this one has so far has been better, I think, especially at capturing the victims, right? So I'm sure that they'll go there, that we're starting to get into the Coberger section. So I'm sure a lot of the book will be about him as well. But I'm glad that the families were able to come forward and talk if they wanted to in the book, especially the Chapin family. They wanted to come out. They wanted to tell their story one time. And that was it. So, but thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here on TikTok. If you guys want to follow me, I would love that. If you want to come over to YouTube and subscribe over there, would love that too. If you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that stuff there. And you know what I forgot to do? No, I didn't forget. Oh, thank goodness I didn't forget. I was like, did I forget to do that? So I did put, I'm going to put this in the YouTube chat, but I will post the link for the Patreon. I did put the 4th episode of the Idaho podcast, or I'm sorry, Idaho documentary from video or Prime Video. I put it on the Patreon today. So all 4 episodes are there now to watch. Also, the Peacock documentary, that's an hour and a half. It's on there also to watch. And then we'll move on to something else that I can post over there for you guys. I want to do the, speaking of Tom, I want to do the Asa Ellerup interviews. I want to do those. I think those will be really good. Before we get started, though, with our book, Brian Enton, News Daddy, he came out with a post, and I don't know where he's getting his documents and what he's reading and where I can get them because I'm on the document, like we go to the Idaho website. I go there every day, and this document that he's talking about is not on there. He's like, yeah, I read this document yesterday. Oh, let me go find him. I was scrolling through. Let's see. Brian Enton, look at that. Brian Coberger, Brian Enton. That's who I search for. Okay, so where was it at? I just saw it. It was from last night, July 13th. What? Hold on. It was just from last night. That's so weird. Where did it go? Okay, hold on. I'm going to see if I go back. Go back one more. Nope. It was just on here. I'm so mad at myself that I like didn't keep the thing up. But it said something about, okay, maybe I'll find it. We'll see. I'll check real quick. And if I don't, that's so weird. Like it was there and then it was gone. Okay. So what it basically said was that they may end up lifting the gag order like before the hearing tomorrow, or even after the hearing tomorrow. So what they did basically was, remember we went over the document where all of the news coalitions, they went in together and they, were like, hey, we want the documents. We want to be able to interview people. We want to be able to see, the evidence, what was going to happen in this case at trial, like all of those things, right? So he said that tomorrow they do have a Zoom conference with them in the morning to see if they will go ahead and release the documents. So they may be released as of like either tonight. He said he's going to keep looking, and I will too. Or he said tomorrow. I'm going to fix my camera here. Sorry. feel like y'all are kind of crooked. I am going the opposite way though, so you can hear me on my microphone. So I can't believe I can't find that. Anyway, so he also said that they got a lawyer. So what they did was they went in and they got a lawyer. All the news agencies did, and they put together, the filing, and now the judge is going to hear them tomorrow morning. So that's a big day. That's a huge day. That's the biggest day, probably other than Coberger pleading guilty. And the victims impact statements will be a huge day. I think this is probably the biggest of the whole case because we have been waiting since around the first week of January to see this stuff. So January 2023 to see this stuff. So we've been waiting patiently a long time. So have the family members. So I'm sure that they would want to read through some of the stuff as well, just to see. I want to see what the state's case was. I really do. So since we don't need that, I'll go ahead and I'll start reading the book. DM, I don't know. I know that I heard that the Gonzalez's are not speaking. They're not even going. I heard that someone said last night in the chat that Steve's going to take their youngest Aubrey to college, which I think that's like bittersweet almost. That's scary to me. Like sending your kid off to college after your other child, didn't make it through, or she did make it through, but she almost made it through. So I think, and also the Chapins aren't speaking. So I don't see, I don't know. I think it'd be great if they all just said something on the courthouse steps and didn't say anything to Brian Coberger at all. Like, make him feel important, If you want to read along, oh, look, it's right here. I found it. It was on TikTok. How the hell did I get him on TikTok? I didn't even have a TikTok up. I must have just searched something. Okay, let me show you this. I thought it was on Twitter. And this is from 17 hours ago.
Next week. But again,
let's go back.
He's just taking a update with the Brian Coberger gag order on the case. This is a little bit of inside baseball, but for those of you who have been following it, you might find this interesting. So remember, it was the prosecution at the last hearing who said that they wanted the gag order to stay in effect until the sentencing. Well, now they have filed a motion, which I just read, saying that actually they are okay with the gag order going away before the sentencing. They don't intend to speak publicly until after the sentencing, but they are now saying because Brian Coberger pled guilty.
See that right there, that document? We read over the documents last night. They were only an order to seal. So I don't know where he read that. I really don't. I really don't. I even went back over and looked to see if there was new documents up on the docket like that I didn't see. And no, they're all just orders to seal, or and then the judge granting it, just like he usually does.
That they are okay.
And the discovery request.
Away now. The reason all of this has come up is because there's this media coalition. So a coalition of journalists, including News Nation, where I work, we've all helped pay for this lawyer to fight the gag order and to also fight some other issues along the way throughout this case. So there's a hearing on Thursday where the media coalition is trying to get the gag order overturned ahead of the sentencing. Prosecution initially didn't want it, is now saying they're actually okay with it. At the last hearing, it didn't seem like the defense really had much of an issue with it. So we'll see what happens. The hearing's on Thursday. It's possible Judge Hippler could even take away the gag order before then. I've been checking. Or he may just keep it in place until sentencing next week. But again, when the gag order goes away, we'll have access to all the evidence. We'll have access to everything that's been redacted. We'll technically be allowed to interview people involved in the case who haven't been allowed. So for journalists, it'll be kind of a big deal. So that's the latest there.
Now, do you guys think that, do you think that people will actually want to talk? Judy, I don't know, but I think they all were. I know they all went to heaven. I know that our God, he definitely picked them four to go up there. If any four, really, right? I mean, they live the best life. Thank you. I actually got these glasses from Warby Parker. They're like two-toned. So like it might start raining outside. I don't know if you could tell. You can tell in the TikTok. video? Oh, you can kind of tell on that one. They're like, what color are they? They're like green at the top and then like a brown at the bottom. You guys actually helped me pick these out one year when I first started my channel. I kept like, I had to do it like 3 times because we couldn't pick a pair. And then I saw these ones and I was like, yep, that's it. I'm just trying to wipe the stuff off. I don't know how these things get dirty when they just go on my face and then they go back in the case. They don't even leave this room. I should wear them all the time, but I don't. And welcome in, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Yvonne. Hey, Coco. Okay, why is this not coming up? Must be like, I don't know what I get on there, lip gloss or something, you know? Who knows? I'll put those on in a minute. They might give me a headache if I put them on for too long. Hey, Judy, are you a church attending Christian? Just asking. Oh, thanks, baby girl. Okay, so what the? People are nuts on this book. What? Hold on. Lana put something on TikTok or Twitter or X or whatever you call it. It says Patterson's book that just dropped July 14th, 2025, featuring the University of Idaho murders is off the hook with info thanks to all the gag violators. Biggest wow. He pled guilty already. Chief Fry takes issue with Delphi Carter's press conference style and vowed to never be like him. LOL deceased, she says. Like she's deceased. She's dead. She's writing about a dead college students and she's saying she's dead. Oh my God. Should I write something? I feel like I should. I'm not going to. I don't know how she got onto my For You page because she's not on my For You page on YouTube. I blocked her a long time ago. I know, Betsy. Here we go again. Another Chris Watts. If you're a man, I'm gonna say it. If you're a man and you commit murder in Lana's eyes, you're innocent. I don't care who you are. You know. I shouldn't have looked back on Twitter. I was like, what the heck? Okay, let's get to our book. Everyone's probably like, we're gonna read. Are you gonna read to us, lady? Okay. So I don't know how many chapters we'll get to, but we'll see when we get there. I don't know how many I put on the thumbnail, but we've been changing the thumbnail all week because we've been going over. But we're on chapter 30, and we're back in Pullman, and they were talking about, you know, Brian Coberger and his upbringing in the last part that we had. And they were talking about him packing his car up for his trip to Washington. Now, I wonder if his dad went out to Washington with him that time or if he made that trip solo. Because when his dad went out to his apartment in December, it was like, I mean, it might not have been sparse then, but his dad would have been wondering why he's taking everything home if he didn't know anything, right? So when the cops got there to check his apartment, which he would have already been in Pennsylvania for a while, they went to check his apartment and they said that it was very sparse. Like it had really nothing in it, no clothing, none of that stuff. So that's kind of weird to me. So we'll continue to read chapter 30. We'll go ahead and let's go. So Pullman, Washington, late August 2022. Oh, I don't have you guys up on my screen. I won't be able to see the comments if I don't. Okay. Perfect. It's the week before classes begin at Washington State University in the small town of Pullman. The little airstrip Pullman shares with nearby Moscow, Idaho is just a 7-minute drive from the hilly campus. WSU is a large school, much larger than UI, with over 30,000 students. WSU territory is marked by the massive billboard bearing the logo of the Cougars, WSU's football team, who are competitive in their division, unlike Moscow's Vandals. But football is not the school's only selling point. This August, WSU's famed criminology and criminal justice graduate program has attracted an international elite bunch, a self-described cohort of 11 students, 7 women and 4 men, who will be pursuing master's or PhD degrees. One student comes from South Korea, another Sai is from Bangladesh. Leon is from Taiwan. At a meet and greet with the 20-odd faculty members, the students pile their paper plates high with mounds of Panda Express and size one another up. I think that's rain. Wow. That's a lot of rain. Sorry, guys. Did they have to give Panda Express? Really? Oh my gosh, that's kind of bad. They make small talk and learn about their differing areas of interest, ranging from cybercrime to human trafficking to police militarization and to domestic terrorism to drug crimes and drug courts. One person says he studies maps, a subject the others can't quite fathom his interest in. At 42, Ben Roberts is the second oldest in the group. He suspects he's the only one from the West Coast. He looks at the other students' seriously scholaring demeanors and thinks he's probably the only one who has ever used a chainsaw. Ben notices one of the students in particular. His name is Brian Coberger. Brian stands out because he's painfully thin. His eyes move too quickly, and the bags under them are dark and too prominent for someone his age. Ben also notices that Brian never takes off his jacket. Even in the August heat, Ben assumes wrongly that he needs insulation on account of his willowy frame. Ben does not know about Brian's history with heroin. He does not know that Brian might be looking or keeping his forearms covered in public to hide the telltale track marks of his past addiction. Ben is flattered when Brian comes over to chat with him. Brian is doing a PhD, which makes him a senior to Ben, who is in the master's program. Brian asks a lot of questions about Ben's background. The conversation kicks into high gear when Ben tells Brian that he worked for the TSA. He was head of security at a small airport. Brian lights up. I've worked in security too, he says. Cool, says Ben. Where? Brian becomes vague. Oh, back home. He doesn't say where home is exactly. Ben shares some experiences he thinks Brian might have had himself. He tells Brian that there were times at the airport when he found it particularly inelegant to have to exercise access control. That is having to tell people who believe. Sorry, I'm going to read that again. That is having to tell people who believed they had clearance to enter a certain area that in fact they didn't, and then barring their path. Did you have any of that? Brian nods vigorously. Ben continues, and the worst I found is when people do have the clearance, but they haven't got the right paperwork on them. It's so embarrassing to have to stop them going through. I know exactly what you mean, says Brian. Ben wonders for a split second if that is in fact true. It felt like he might have been stretching. He later said, but at the time, Ben went with the flow. Brian seems very articulate, Ben thinks. He spits words out with the fluency and confidence of somebody who expects to be listened to. Ben has no idea that Brian is in fact grieving a Breva performance, playing a role of someone he has never been, namely someone who belongs in the room. The silent, awkward introvert has been replaced for now by a confident, articulate intellectual. Brian might be figuring that at WSU he can start fresh, become the man he dreams of being. No one needs to know about his troubled past. It's pouring out there. Brian turns from Ben and makes a beeline for the group of senior faculty members. Like a Wall Street CEO, one by one, he pumps their hands and works the room. I'm Brian, he says, and I'm excited to be here. I know, I hear that too, Mia. Are you getting scared? I'm going to look outside really fast, guys. Sorry. I'm going to look out the window really quick. It's okay, Mia. The dog's even up. I'm just like wondering. Oh, it stopped. Are you kidding? As soon as I got up, my little thing was messed up. As soon as I got up, I look out and there's no rain. It's just like one of those like summer downpours, you know? Sorry about that. It's just good. Okay. All right. God's bowling. So, chapter 31, Pullman, Washington. It says early fall 2022. The cohort is sitting in a circle in a classroom in Wilson Short Hall. It's the third class in the research methodology course taught by their toughest grader, a redheaded French professor named Amelia Penellet, whose expertise is in sexually violent offenders. Brian is in the seat next to Dr. Pendelent on her right. He takes his seat each time because he knows it means he'll be called on to present his assignment first as the professor makes her way around the circle. Brian appears to like going first. He appears to think it gives him an advantage over all the Beckys in the room. Becky is a term used in the manosphere chat groups Brian is familiar with. Brian knows all about incels, that is, involuntary celibates. Incels are members of a movement of frustrated men, all virgins, that sprang up on 4chan, in 2014, just hours after Elliot Roger committed mass murder and then suicide, and acted that Brian studied back in Professor Ramsden's class in DeSales. The idea of the movement, started in Roger's honor, is that one day the incels will succeed in their beta revolution and overthrow the Beckys, Stacys, and Chads who have managed to make the betas feel so small and rejected. The group is increasingly associated with violence. Brian looks around the class. These women could all be considered Beckys, defined by incels as feminists who dye their hair, posted stupid opinions, and need to be the dominant ones in relationships. By contrast, Stacys are stereotypically nobile, used to male attention, prolific on social media, and date hunky rich chats. According to incel lore, Beckys need to be put in their place. After Brian gives his presentation, the Becky next to him starts hers. He leans in closely, paying attention. As soon as she's done, he begins his offense. He peppers her with questions that he appears to think show how smart he is and how dumb she is. Did you think about this theory? And what about that one? And had she read that book? She's getting annoyed. He can see that. Brian looks over at Ben as if seeking affirmation, but Ben looks away. Some of the women are visibly pissed. Brian doesn't seem bothered by their discomfort. Elliot Roger would have been proud. I know, right? Becky, man. I didn't even know about a Becky. I heard of like Stacey's and chats. I think that's stupid. Whose name is Stacy anymore? Like, really? I don't know anybody named Stacy. I knew one girl in high school, wherever she went. You know what I mean? Like, you think you call them like Ashleys or something. No offense to the Ashleys in the world. But like, that's a more common name. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like girls with the name Ashley, sometimes they could be bitchy. Probably just my best friend. That's probably what it is. That's just probably my best friend. And she would tell you that too. So chapter 32, Pullman, Washington, fall 2022. It's been a long day. Brian is tired. He's sitting in the back row in the class of Dr. Hillary Millinger, a recent graduate herself who teaches a course on the role of cultural issues like immigration and homelessness in criminal justice. Brian isn't particularly interested in Dr. Millinger's course. Incels might consider her another Becky. She's an advocate for immigrant women and girls who are fleeing men perpetrating gender-based violence by knocking them around. Incels are reportedly at the heart of rising gender-based violence. In 2018, a Canadian self-described incel, Alec Minasan, was motivated, he said, by hatred of women to plow a van into a crowded Toronto sidewalk, killing 11 people. He's been sentenced to prison for life, and he's become an icon in the movement. Dr. Mellinger interrupts his reverie. Brian, she says suddenly, and she asks him a question about immigration that he hasn't prepared for. Did he even hear it correctly? Shit, he doesn't know that one. The Beckys have turned around and are staring at him. So is Ben, who observed later, you could kind of tell what he was trying to say. You could kind of tell he was trying to say something, but it just wouldn't come out. He couldn't find the words. Dr. Mellinger looked shocked. Ben said Brian looked like a dog caught in a thunderstorm. If his ears could have been pinned back, they would have been pinned back. He was just as stiff as a board, didn't move, didn't speak, just kind of wide-eyed. We know that look. Fortunately for Brian, this happens in the final few minutes of class. He's the last one to leave the room, so no one sees his face as he heads to his car. No one can see it, that if he's red hot anger or red hot ashamed. Either way, the stuttering, awkward guy, the real self he tried to leave behind in Pennsylvania, just appeared like a jack in the box. He knows that you can't put him back, but you can't erase the discomfort in what just happened. Chapter 33, Pullman, Washington, fall of 2022. On page 118 of his manifesto. Oh, we're going to go there. We read that on the channel long time ago. Elliot Roger wrote, I had nothing left to live for but revenge. I lived in a college town full of young, attractive students who partied and had sex all the time, and I didn't get to experience any of it. No one invited me to any parties, and in all the times I went out by myself in Isla Vista, none of the beautiful blonde girls showed any interest in having sex with me. Not one girl. These are crimes that cannot go unpunished. The more I thought about all these injustices that are dealt to me, the more eager I became for revenge. It's all I have left. Months later, the people physically closest to Brian, the members of his cohort, look for the smallest clue as to why it all went down. There will likely be a trial at which they hope to find answers, but this or something like this is what they speculate happened sometime that August. Brian goes for an evening drive. He drives and drives in the dark. He drives when he can't sleep, when he needs to clear his head, and when the nightmares and visual snow reoccur, which they are doing now. Tap, tap, tap. He's back in the basement on Tapatalk, the online message board back when he was a teenager. I feel myself slipping away. It is as if the ringing in my ears and the fuzz of my vision is simply all of the demons in my head mocking me. I fall asleep, but I wake up quickly to bloody screams. Is any of this here? Am I brain damaged? No. Then why am I like this? Brian has no one to share his hopelessness with, even if he could find the words to do it. The others don't seem to want to hang out. He knows the cohorts gather on weekends for a beer. No one has invited him to join them. Just like Elliot Roger, who swung between two college communities, one in Santa Barbara and the other 11 miles away in Isla Vista, Brian has one other option to find a Stacy willing to date him: Moscow, Idaho, across the state border. He parks the car in town and heads to a place he's read about online, the Mad Greek. They serve vegan pizza. As soon as he walks inside, he notices the blonde waitress with her long hair and sphinx-like blue eyes. She would definitely be marked as a Stacy by the Incels. She's the I can't say it, but atonement of the women who turned down Elliot Roger. Her name is Maddie, like Elliot's childhood friend Maddie, who grew into someone who ignored Roger. Will she notice Brian? She comes over to ask what he'd like. He knows what he would like: her. Man, that thunder up there is not messing around. Hold on one second here. Let me see if I'm going to throw the, if you guys don't mind, because you're awesome, take a second, hit the like button for me, please. And thank you. And if you're on TikTok, I don't know if we even have a like button over there for the lives. Whatever we got, just do it over there. Thanks for the hearts. I think that might be what it is. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You guys are the MVP right there. Where's my hearts at over here on the YouTube? I'm just kidding with you guys. I'm just kidding. Okay, let me get back to the book. Has it not been up here? Has that book not been up here for you guys? Did I not? Oh my gosh, you guys. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't even share the book with y'all. You guys are they just let me go over on YouTube. I had the book covering that screen so I couldn't see. I'm so sorry, guys. Someone just says, I like had the book like covering the screen, so it looked like, so I couldn't see like behind it. Oh my God. I'm about to start again. I hate that for us. Okay, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. You just sitting here listening to me read. Oh, y'all are nice. Y'all are nice. I didn't see the chat either. I stopped looking just for a minute, so I can concentrate on reading. So I'm so sorry about that. So chapter 34, we only went through 4 chapters. Moscow, Idaho, August 21st, 2022. It's pitch black, but anyone can see Maddie sitting at her vanity as clear as day through the window. She has no idea who is out there in the parking lot looking. But neighbors like Lexi Pattinson see her nightly routine. They know that she always takes her time putting on her face. Foundation, then blush, eyeshadow, mascara, or false lashes. Sometimes she uses a curling iron to style her long blonde hair. Anyone who didn't know Maddie's name would learn it in an instant because the letters spelling it out are in the window. Anyone can see right into her room's pink interior and discover the minute of her life as a cutesy girl who likes order. Even her quilt is pink. A passerby who stopped and stared would know she has a boyfriend because on weekends he sits on the bed when Maddie and the other girls model clothes for Instagram and TikTok. She tags the boyfriend on social media. His name is Jake. Recently, the boyfriend bought Maddie cookies and a bouquet of flowers that stands in a vase on her dresser. Her mom, or at least a woman who looks exactly like Maddie, often pops in, and so does an older, graceful-looking woman, Maddie's grandmother, whom she calls Deedle. That's cute. Anyone can see just from watching that Maddie is close to all these family members. She's even making a little quilt for someone, a baby. Kaylee, one of her friends, often pops in from next door. These two are obviously close. They pore over their phones, comparing social media posts, taking photos and videos of each other. They are so immersed in their phones and the coziness that they never think to look further than the sanctuary of their yard. They don't see anyone out there staring. Corporal Brett Payne of the Moscow police later alleges, based on AT&T's cell phone records and the pings Brian's phone made off a Moscow cell tower, that Brian did. That's what Brian did. Payne alleges that he was there at least 12 times between August 21st and November 13, almost always late at night, cloaked in darkness. The theory among Maddie's friends is that she rejected him, so he watched, waiting. Elliot Roger wrote of reuniting with a childhood friend named Maddie in the months before the day of retribution. She was a popular, spoiled USC girl who partied with her hot, popular, blonde-haired clique of friends. My hatred for them all grew from each picture I saw of her profile. They were the kind of beautiful, popular people who lived pleasurable lives and would look down on me as inferior scum, never accepting me as one of them. They were my enemies. They represented everything that was wrong with this world. Corporal Payne alleges that on the night of August 21st, Brian was there at King Road between 10:34 p.m. and 11:35 p.m. At 11:37 p.m. at the junction of Farm Road and Pullman Highway, on his way back to Pullman, Brian is pulled over by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Duke. His car doesn't have a front license plate. It's registered in Pennsylvania, where front plates aren't required. He'll need to change that in Washington and Idaho, Duke tells him. Brian says okay. He's smooth with the officer, neutral. The officer has no clue as to what Brian is really doing in Moscow. If Brian is asked about it, which he would be, he'll deny that he was doing anything other than going out for a drive, like he always does when under stress. He often goes out stargazing, he'll say. The police can't see into his mind. No one can. Even though the people out here in the Pacific Northwest do try, boy, do they try. Chapter 35, Pullman, Washington, fall of 2022. These people have the craziest last names. I cannot pronounce her name. Cassie Zadek is a WSU freshman majoring in psychology and minoring in criminology. Her largest class is the undergraduate criminal justice course with Professor John Snyder. With white hair and a mustache, Dr. Snyder is one of the most popular professors in the department. He's the reason Cassie wanted to come to WSU. She's excited. But as she sits attentively during Snyder's first class, Cassie encounters something off-putting, rather someone off-putting. The professor talks and talks for 40 long minutes, often calling on class members in his fun, benign way. A tall, thin guy with bulging eyes stands in front of the class, facing them the entire time. He has a coffee in his hand. He fiddles with it. Cassie wonders who the heck he is and why he is staring. The way he holds himself exudes not confidence exactly, but self-importance, perhaps. Finally, Professor Snyder introduces him. This is your new TA, Brian Coberger. A couple of slides of nice-looking family come into the projector screen. Hi, I'm Brian, he tells the class. I'm here to continue my degree from Pennsylvania. I've got a master's in psychology. Here's my family. They look normal, Cassie thinks. Brian tells them he'll be here with Professor Snyder regularly and he'll be grading their papers. Then he sits down. Why didn't Brian just sit at a desk in the front row until he was introduced? Cassie wonders. Because he wanted everyone to know who he was. Her neighbor whispers to her that this guy is weird. Cassie smirks. Cassie sees Brian twice a week, every time she has a class with Professor Snyder. There are 2 TAs, both guys. One often has his laptop in front of him. Brian just sits there staring at the class, fiddling with his coffee cup. He doesn't say anything. It's strange. Where he's communicative, Cassie notices, is in his grading. She can tell he puts a lot of thought into marking her papers. As he gives her A's, he writes a lot of commentary. She assumes that's because she's good at writing essays. She doesn't think she's a standout student, though. Until that is, she hears from some of her female classmates that he's not so generous with their grades. And when he thinks they've gotten something wrong, he writes pages and pages explaining why. He is tough, they say. They think it's because they're women. Walking into class one time, a couple of classmates tell Cassie they've emailed Professor Snyder about it. Wow, Cassie thinks, that's a step. Chapter 36, Pullman, Washington, October 2022. The weather hovers between fall and winter. It's bitterly cold, but the first snow has yet to arrive. After class at around 5 p.m., Ben Roberts is milling around in Wilson Short Hall when he bumps into Brian, who offers to give him a lift home. Ben hesitates. He lives only a few minutes away, but he does need a ride, and he's curious. Ben wants to understand what underlies Brian's antagonistic behavior towards the women in class. So he makes the decision. He accepts. Never heard of this Ben character. Ben gets into Brian's white Hyundai Elantra. Brian keeps the car interior clean and tidy, he notices. The conversation begins straightforwardly enough, at least in Ben's mind. They talk about some of the negative impacts of social media. Ben says he believes that social media encourages people to stay within bubbles of like-minded people. Dating app searches, for example, Ben points out, are designed algorithmically to keep men and women in certain groups. Brian gets personal. Are you seeing anyone? He asks. No, says Ben, and I'm fine with that. Ben doesn't add something he doesn't think Brian knows, and that is none of his business anyway. He's not straight. He wants to change the topic, but Brian wants to talk about women, what he thinks of them. He tells Ben that he believes in traditional gender roles, the implication being that their female colleagues are wasting their time in class and have no business pursuing master's degrees. Essentially, Brian believes that men should make money and women should be homemakers. Ben thinks his sentiment is tasteless as well as anachronistic. I can't even say it. Anachronistic. My mouth does not let me say it. Sorry, guys. And odd for someone who chosen to attend WSU, a progressive academic community where women outnumber men on the faculty. The department's head is a woman, Dr. Melanie Angela Newley, who is interested in feminist theories, no less, in researching comparative homicides, specifically violent homicides. She also has a wider interest in criminology theories, including feminist theorization of crime. But Ben is even more horrified by what Brian says next. I can walk into any social gathering and get any girl I want. It's an extraordinary thing to say, and in Ben's mind, it puts Brian at creep level, and not just because Ben doubts Brian, given Brian's weird physical appearance, that there's any truth to the boast. Ben doesn't rate himself highly as a specimen of physical attractiveness, but this guy, he looks more like Gollum than George Clooney, Ben thinks. He doesn't know what Brian has in fact he doesn't know that Brian has in fact seen a girl he wants and cannot get. A beautiful girl with long blonde hair and blue eyes. Brian continues talking, seemingly looking for a sign of agreement from Ben. When they arrive at Ben's place, he gets out of the car hoping they're done. They're not. Brian asks to use his bathroom. He lingers in Ben's tiny sardine can studio apartment until 7:45 p.m., Both men remain standing for the conversation because Ben has only 2 chairs and one of them is piled high with stuff. Ben does not consider these hours well spent. As for Brian, he's probably realized Ben wasn't the kindred spirit he hoped he was. Chapter 37, Pullman, Washington, September 23rd, 2022. The way the cohort hears it is this is what he goes down in Professor Snyder's office. Dr. Snyder calls Brian in to talk about the complaints. Women have emailed him saying the TA is grading the female students unfairly, and some of the cohorts say his interruptions in class are misogynistic. Professor Snyder informs Brian of what's being said and suggests he change his ways. Stop interrupting the women, he tells the strange young man, or he says something along those lines. They're complaining. Stop writing them essays on their essays. It's offensive. Be generous and brief. A rumor goes around that Snyder makes the point that the undergraduates cannot be expected to have the same level of knowledge as Brian. Snyder is trying to be helpful, but apparently, or so they hear later, none of them was in the room. Obviously, Brian's anger spills out of him. Fuck it, no more point pretending. Something sends him out of control. They deserve what they get, he says. The professor sees that Brian might be smart, but his Achilles heel is a big ego and a high opinion of himself. And there's something deeper that sets Brian off, something ugly. Professor Snyder thinks he hears Brian mutter, they don't belong in the classroom, but he can't be sure. So in his report on the altercation to the higher ups and on the faculty, he focuses on what he cannot ignore, the young man's anger. A week or so later, on October 3rd, Department Chair Melanie Angela Nully and Graduate Director Dale Willits called Brian in to discuss his lack of norms of professional behavior. Professor Willits is there as a witness, so there's a record of what's happening in the meeting, which it turns out will be needed. Brian listens, but he doesn't hear them. He's angry, defiant. He says he wants to meet his critics head on, have a discussion in class, explain his grading. He graded his students poorly because they didn't know the topic well. After he leaves, the faculty members are concerned there's no way Brian's discussion with his students is likely to go the way he thinks it will. Chapter 38, Pullman, Washington, November 20th, 2022. Ben Roberts is still in shock about the delusional self-regarded Brian expressed in the conversation that revealed his offensive, anachronistic view of gender roles. But increasingly, Brian's appearance becomes even more startling. Ben assumes that Brian is as stressed as they all are with finals looming. The workload is almost intolerable, and none of the students appear to be in perfect health. In class, Brian looks positively ill, like he's physically deteriorating. He looked like the Walking Dead, Ben said later. I mean, they're talking. His eyes were just completely dark most of the time. He just looked gone. This wasn't just sleep deprivation. It was more serious, ongoing. He heard the rumors that Brian got reprimanded by Professor Snyder, but Brian doesn't offer any information. Ben goes to WSU's Student Care Network and fills out a form indicating his concern. He wants to send it to the administration. The school's website states that these reports can be made anonymously. But before pressing submit, Ben looks for the anonymous reporting function. He can't see that his anonymity will be protected for sure. Ben wants to help his exhausted classmate, but he doesn't want Brian searching out and finding the person who submitted the form. He doesn't want this coming back to him. There's something about this guy that is just too weird. So Ben deletes what he's typed, never imagining the act of pushing the backspace button on his keyboard will come to haunt him. Chapter 39, Pullman, Washington, October 14th, 2022. Brian is driving his white 2015 Hyundai Elantra when he hears the siren. Damn, again? He pulls over and sits there as a WSU police officer, Isabel Lewingaz, gets out of her cruiser and approaches him. I probably butcher her name, and I'm so sorry. Brian rolls down his window looking as calm as possible, even though his heart is racing. Hello, officer. Officer Lewingaz politely greets Brian. Wearing a body camera, she starts by telling him that the stop is being audio and video recorded. Then she says, I think you know why I stopped you. You ran the red light. What actually happened was, I was stuck in the middle of the intersection, Brian answers, so I was forced to turn left. Yeah, I was behind you the whole time, Lewingaz says with little says a little skeptically. Sorry. She explains that she watched Brian enter the intersection illegally. She asked for his license, registration, insurance. Brian hands them over. He's cooperative, apologizes profusely. Luinges, I'm saying her name wrong, seems receptive. So Brian plows on, getting in deep. All that practice being verbal in class is paying off. He tells the cop that he's from a rural part of Pennsylvania, as his vehicle registration shows. And when it comes to pulling into an intersection like he just did, it never even occurred to me that that was actually something wrong. Back home, you could just drive like that with impunity. His performance works. He gets away with it just like he did back in August. The officer lets him go with a warning. For Brian, it's likely an empowering movement. Back in DeSales in Professor Ramsden's class, he learned that a month before the day of retribution, Elliot Roger was paid a visit by police officers. They left with no clue that he was planning a mass murder. It's possible that Brian, too, can get away with anything he wants. Chapter 40, Pullman, Washington, fall 2022. She asked Brian, her neighbor, to install a home surveillance system. She noticed that her home in Steptoe Village apartment has been broken into and various items were moved around, but nothing stolen. Brian is always floating around the place. It's where a lot of the graduate students live, and they've gotten friendly. And she knows he's into tech because he's always talking about how good he is with computers. She can see him on his computer at his window late into the night. So instead of going to the police, she goes to Brian, who agrees to help place cameras around her home. He could not be more helpful, and the new cameras worked really well. She's grateful until she looks at the cameras and at what she can see from her phone. There's been a rumor that Brian followed a woman student to her car. This technology is smart, but so simple. Anyone with a password can log on and see inside her apartment. Anyone. But there's only one person other than her who knows the password, Brian. Her mind races. He seemed off lately, strange. He asked her to go out for coffee and seemed mad when she said no, really mad. She changes her password. She has no idea that just 2 months after this, her brief encounters with Brian will become a newspaper story that goes viral. She has no idea that she will need to shield her identity, hide from the media and the public. No idea that her experience will make her a potential witness in a murder trial. That Chief Jenkins will say that investigators believe there was likely a connection between Brian's work on her security and what happened at 1122 King Road. She has no idea of who the weird guy with the bulging eyes really is or of what is about to happen. Chapter 41, Pullman, Washington, November 2nd, 2022. Less than a month after their previous meeting with Brian, so the cohort hears graduate director Dale Willits and department chair Melanie Angela Newley are once again confronting Brian about his behavior. There are no friendly suggestions this time. Dr. Willits and Newley tell Brian that he already knows, short of a miracle, he'll be fired. The cohort hears that the discussion about grading has not gone well. Women had later complained to Dr. Snyder and said Brian had stared at them and that he positioned himself by the door and they'd had to get uncomfortably close to him to exit the room. One suggested he followed her to her car. As if Brian is so pissed, they'd be lucky to get close to him. He has stopped showing up to teach. So 2 weeks ago, John Snyder had formally notified Brian he had failed to meet expectations as a TA. The students assume that Professor Newley wants to give students the benefit of the doubt and that this is why she and Professor Willits are giving Brian a chance. Today, Dr. Newley and Willits suggest an improvement plan for Brian, a way for him to show them he can lose the misogyny and genuinely behave professionally at an institution that expects that of both students and teachers. This improvement plan, they agree, will be emailed to Brian, and they will meet again in a month to see how it's going. Brian listens. Brian's career as a graduate student is over. In his room now, they are going through the motions. His bubble is bursting. His dream of a new life, a new persona, is now being cut short. Professor Snyder emails the plan to him the next day. It contains words like courtesy and respect, the kind of thing he considers politically correct bullshit. So they want change. On page 118 of his manifesto, Elliot Roger wrote that he planned to carry out his day of retribution scheme in November. At first, he planned to do it on Halloween because he said it was the ultimate party night. There would literally be thousands of people crowded together who I could kill with ease, and the goal was to kill everyone in Isla Vista to utterly destroy that wretched town. But then I saw there were too many cops walking around. The day of retribution would have to be on a normal party weekend, so I was set the time during November 2013. In the early hours of November 13th, 2022, police allege Brian leaves his Holman Pullman at 2:47 a.m. His phone shows he's moving southeast of his Pullman home. 1 minute later, his phone stops reporting to the network or any network and doesn't come online again until 4:47 a.m. Between those times, Corporal Brett Payne alleges a mass intruder fitting Coberger's description enters 1122 King Road. As they are sleeping or relaxing in what they assume is safety of their own home, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Coronado, and Ethan Chapin are fatally stabbed. What no one knows is why. We're on part 3. Okay. The first 6 weeks. Chapter 42, Moscow, Idaho, November 13th, 2022. As soon as she wakes up and sees the half light shining through the slit of a window in Bethany's room, Dylan remembers him, the firefighter, his bulging blue eyes that caught hers, his thick dark eyebrows, and the mask. Her dreamlike memory of the night before begins coming back to her in hazy snippets. She remembers falling into a half sleep, half stupor. At around 2 a.m., she heard everyone come home. Kaylee and Maddie had chatted on the couch in the living room. Late last night, she heard the girls say the name of Kaylee's ex, Jack. Dylan now thinks Maddie and Kaylee stayed up for a while. She heard them stomp up the stairs to the top floor. And then she thought she'd heard that cry. Was it Kaylee? There's someone here. Given her haze, Dylan can't be sure of the timing, but she thought it sounded like Kaylee had said those words just moments after going upstairs. Then Dylan had opened her door and peered out. Nothing. She thought she could hear Xana moving around, doubtless getting a food delivery like she always did after a big night out. It wasn't unusual for people to pop in and out of King Road even at 4 a.m. It was a party house, and people knew to come in through the sliding door up by the kitchen. Everyone in their circle, even their parents, knew that lock was broken. You just have to lift the mechanism up and the door released. So Dylan went back to bed. But as soon as she laid down, she thought she heard Xana crying. She opened her door again, and she thought she heard an unmistakably male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Then there was a thud, a whimper, and Murphy began barking and barking. Murphy never did that in the middle of the night. Dylan shut her door, freaked out. Her heart thudding, she waited some more. She opened the door a third time, and then she saw him, the firefighter. Or that's what she thought he must be, since he wore a mask and was clad head to toe in black. He had something in his hands, a vacuum maybe? Was there a fire? Was there smoke? She was confused. He was walking towards the back sliding doors, their gazes locked for a split second. Dylan was momentarily frozen, but she quickly closed her door and locked it, heart pounding, waiting for further sounds. She remembered being scared and looking around her room for her taser. The battery was dead. She listened and listened at the door, but after that, there was just silence. Whoever he was, whatever he'd been doing, he was gone. Dylan wondered in that moment if she'd gone crazy. How wasted was she? That was when she reached out to Bethany and the others, and eventually, after getting no reply for 10 minutes and seeing that her phone was dying, she gulped, opened the door again, and raced down to Bethany's room, where she locked the door and climbed into bed with her best friend. The other housemates must be sleeping, she told herself, and she fell into an uneasy slumber. When she woke up around 8 a.m., early for a Sunday, Bethany was already awake. She spoke to her parents and told them about Dylan's paranoia, most likely the night before. Dylan has had crazy thoughts before when completely drunk, so at first she thinks it must have been a nightmare, which now has passed, just like the dark. She and Bethany lie in bed, both on their phones. Dylan's tools around on Instagram and then on Indeed. At 10:23 a.m., she texts Maddie to see if she's up. No biggie, she thinks. There's no answer. But the clock ticks on, and as Dylan sends messages on Instagram and Snapchat, there's still no noise from upstairs. At 11:29 a.m., she texts Kaylee, still nothing. Now the panic from last night sets in again. She turns to Bethany. What if whatever Dylan saw was real? Bethany calls Jen and McClure, one of their besties. She says she'll come over. And Dylan decides to phone Emily, the person she trusts the most on campus. Surely Emily can fix this. She has to. Chapter 43, Moscow, Idaho, November 13th, 2022. Emily Adlant is in her apartment in the building next door having breakfast with Hunter Johnson, Josie, and Lyndon when she answers Dylan's call. Can you come over? Dylan asks her big sister. I really don't know if I was dreaming or not, but I think there was a man here and I'm really scared. Can you come check out the house? Emily is amused. It's not the first time Dylan has said crazy stuff after she's had a few drinks. Haha, should I bring my pepper spray? She teases. Emily takes the second to find a sweatshirt before trotting toward the King Road house, but Hunter, driven perhaps by some sixth sense, is ahead of her. He enters the house and passes Dylan and Bethany, who are barefoot, hands over their mouths, crying. They wait while he goes upstairs and heads to the passage that will take him to Xana's room. The first sign that something is very wrong is that Xana's door is cracked open a few inches. Xana never sleeps with her door open. But Hunter soon sees that Xana isn't in bed asleep. She's lying on the floor as if she'd fallen backwards into the room. Ethan is motionless in the bed behind her. There are rivers of blood. Adrenaline takes over, as does a strong protective instinct. He goes back down to Dylan and Bethany. Call 911, he says, and stay outside, he says as calmly as he can. He turns back and heads upstairs, where he goes into the kitchen and gets a knife. Is the person who did this still here? He heads across the hall back to Xana's room. When he's at her doorway, he hears someone coming up the stairs. He turns around and sees Emily coming towards him. He stops her, putting a hand on her shoulders and talking as softly as he can. You cannot go in there, he tells her. Emily doesn't understand. He tries again. Emily, I don't think Xana's going to wake up, he says firmly. And Emily stops moving. She stops speaking. She's rooted in shock. I'm going to take their pulses, he says. Eventually, she turns and heads back down the stairs. Hunter goes into Xana's bedroom. He takes Xana's pulse, knowing that he won't feel a beat. He doesn't. And then Hunter goes over to the bed to his best friend Ethan, lying there facing the wall, peacefully but lifelessly again. There's no pulse. He now walks around the room, checking the closets. There's no one there. In a trance, he walks out of the bedroom, knife in hand, and stands in the living room. Meanwhile, the others are outside on the phone with the emergency responder. The operator is asking them to stop passing the phone around, but in their panic, that's all they can think to do. Bethany and Dylan are too upset to be intelligible, so Josie tries to give the address as clearly as she can, explaining that one of the roommates is unconscious. One of the roommates is passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. Oh, and they saw a man in their house last night. Dylan takes the phone back and tries to start in about what she saw at 4 a.m., but the operator cuts her off. She wants to know what's happening right now. Is someone passed out right now? There's a pause as they call for Hunter inside the house, who hollers back to them. She's not waking up, Dylan tells the operator. Hunter comes out and takes the phone from Dylan. Is she breathing? The operator asks. No, Hunter says, with all the calm he can muster. Then he hands the phone back to Dylan and goes to wait inside. The operator tells Dylan that she summoned help and to stay on the line. She asks Dylan if she can find a defibrillator. Dylan asks the others. None of them knows where a defibrillator is. None of them, other than Hunter, knows anything. But wordlessly, they are each screaming the same question. Why is Xana not waking up? Where is Ethan? Why is Hunter Johnson telling them to stay outside? And what about Kaylee and Maddie? Huddled on the sidewalk, dressed in their nightwear, the friends have no idea whether Kaylee and Maddie are inside the house. They do know from their location sharing apps that the girls' phones are there. But they also know that neither is answering. Chapter 44. And thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate it. And sorry about earlier. I don't know why I didn't have the book up or the pages for you guys. So chapter 44, they are still on the phone with 911 operator when the first patrol car arrives. The man who gets out, Patrol Officer Mitch Nunes, is 22, the same age as Hunter Johnson. Nunes joined the Moscow PD only a year ago. The kids look at him, slightly stunned to see someone their age in an officer's uniform. Nunes is expecting a routine situation. He asks Hunter Johnson, who is standing just inside, still holding the kitchen knife, to come with him to show him the unconscious person. He's ready to administer CPR. But right from the get-go, something tells him this isn't the usual case of a student who has I can't even read today. Hunter Johnson doesn't let go of the knife. He takes Nunes up to Xana's room. He shows him Xana and Ethan. Nunes takes their pulses. They are dead, clearly the victims of a brutal stabbing. Nunes can see that in addition to their other wounds, Xana's fingers are almost severed. It looks like she put up a fight against someone advancing into the room. Ethan looks as if he died while sleeping. He's on his side in the bed, facing the wall, stabbed in the buttocks and neck. Nunes takes out his gun. He might be the department baby, but he knows how to follow protocols. From his time in the Army and his police training, he knows that while he waits for backup, he needs to look around for a perpetrator. His first priority is to clear the residence of any threat. His second is to get the medical aid to anyone who needs it. Nunes casts his eye around. There's no sign of a perpetrator, and it's clear that Xana and Ethan are beyond requiring medical assistance. He calls for backup. He takes Hunter down to the living room. Then he makes his way up to the top of the house, his body cam recording every second of his movements and the horrific visual of what he sees. Upstairs on the top floor, Nunes finds a dog, a golden doodle, in the room on the left. He enters the room on the right, Maddie's room, and sees two young women, Kaylee and Maddie, laying in Maddie's bed, also stabbed to death. Even before he takes their pulses, he knows they are dead. Nunes hasn't seen anything as horrific as this in his short time at the Moscow PD. The last murder in town happened long before he joined the force. Two other officers, Corbin Smith and Eric Warner, are on their way, but Nunes knows he needs to go up the chain of command fast. This is way serious. Chapter 45. It's 12:30 p.m. on what ought to be a lazy Sunday, but someone is shaking Hunter Chapin awake. Cooper, he says groggily to the guy who climbed up the ladder to his sleeping loft and is prodding him. Cooper Atkinson is an older Sig High brother who recruited him, and Ethan is standing there, visibly agitated. Hunter, wake up. There are cops on King Road. Huh? Hunter doesn't see what the big deal is. The King Road house is a notorious party house because of the deck in the back. The cops are always being called by a neighbor angered by the noise. Hunter sees the university has sent out a campus-wide alert about an unconscious person, but he still isn't worried. Maybe Xana or one of the other roommates over embodied on the game day. It wouldn't be the first time someone passed out from drinking. But Cooper drags Hunter out of bed, and the two make the short walk across the lower field to the house. As they get near, Hunter can see their usual gang sitting on the sidewalk: Emily, Hunter Johnson, Josie, Lyndon, Dylan, Bethany. Where's Ethan, he wonders. Oh, he answers his own question. Ethan is probably helping the cops inside. He'll be helping whoever is in difficulty. That would be typical of Ethan. Xana's not on the sidewalk either, so maybe the person who needs help is Ethan's own girlfriend. Hunter scarcely notices that Cooper leaves his side once he catches up to his group of friends on the sidewalk, because there's something in his friends' faces that tells him that the world has just ended. They don't speak, they just hug him. Hunter's afraid to say anything, but then Hunter Johnson gently motions for him to follow him to a nearby dumpster. Probably that one right up on King Road, right? You know how they were sitting on the bottom and then there's that dumpster behind them? Probably that one. Where was I at? Oh, when they are alone, Hunter Chapin plucks the courage to ask, what's going on? Like, where's Ethan? Is he helping whoever's inside? Hunter Johnson speaks softly. Ethan's not here anymore. Hunter Chapin doesn't comprehend the words. What do you mean? Ethan's not here anymore. Like, where did he go? Your brother's dead. Dead? Hunter Chapin can't feel anything. How can this be happening? How on earth can Ethan, whom he last saw in the early hours of this morning, be dead? Hunter Johnson continues. I don't know. We think Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie were all murdered last night. Murdered? Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie? Hunter Chapin is so dizzy he has to sit down. Ordinarily, he'd tell the other Hunter he's out of his mind to stop with such a cruel joke. But ordinarily, there isn't yellow police tape around the house and a swarm of cops moving in and out and not speaking to the little circle of sobbing kids. For maybe 15 minutes, Hunter Chapin is mute. They all are. No one knows what to say. He can't process this. He can't deal. He has spent almost every minute of his entire life with his triplet brother. Ethan has been his leader, his role model. His brother has entered every room, every game, every contest at one step ahead of him, but also with his hand stretched out towards him. Ethan is Hunter's entire world. Now he's gone, murdered. What is it? TikTok audio. I'm confused. Oh. Oh, there's no audio? Son of a bitch. I'll just end it then. I'm gonna end it over there. Wonder why my audio went out. It's blue. It's green. I checked it beforehand. I don't know. I guess I was talking to the wall then. Thank you guys. That's so weird. I don't even know how to mute myself on the old TikTok. I'll have to figure that out. Like before, like I'll go live next time on TikTok first, so I can figure out the audio. That's weird because I got my microphone right here and it was on. That's so weird. Oh, whoa! I'll have to have Vincent help me. Oh, it was working for most of it. Yeah. All I have to do is there's a bunch of people following me, so I guess that's good. I can restart it right like this. Oh, okay. And I think you can even pause it over here. I'm not sure. Okay, let me put this back on. I wish I could tell if it's working. I don't know how to check to see if there's sound. Let me know if there is any sound. If there's no sound, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. If it doesn't work, I'll plug in the other one. Maybe this one's like going dead or something. That could be it. Oh, what did I just do? I did something to the book. Okay. It looks a little different, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. I just want to make sure we're on the right page. He has no idea what to do, what to say to his sister, his mom, his dad. He doesn't want to speak to the cops, and it seems they don't want to speak to the kids. The police avert their gaze as they go in and out of the house. Eventually, Hunter speaks. For the first time in his life, he has to dig deep and find Ethan's spirit within him. Can we hear okay? I'm going to actually check just my settings really quick. Sorry. It's connected. We should be good. It's storming still. Okay. Wait, oops. Did we read that page? Yeah, we did. We just read it. Okay. Chapter 46. I need a phone, Hunter Chapin says. Mine isn't working. Hunter Johnson hands him his. He calls his sister, no answer. It will emerge that Maisie is showering, and when she comes out and sees a missed call from Hunter Johnson, she doesn't assume that it's anything urgent. Why should she? But then he calls again. Weird. She answers, what do you want, Hunter? But it isn't the Hunter she was expecting. It's her brother, and he sounds strange. Maisie, you need to come to Xana's. Maisie thinks this is also weird. Why? You just need to come. Maisie is kind of pissed. I don't have a car. Find one. Maisie wakes up Reagan, one of her roommates, and asks her to drive her to Xana's. But they can get only as far as the bottom of the hilly slope on which 1122 King Road sits. The whole block is cordoned off. Police are everywhere. Maisie gets out and walks towards her brother Hunter and the usual friend group. They're all crying. Her brother appears to be on the phone. Maisie thinks her stomach might fall out of her. What the hell happened? Someone, anyone? Silence. Maisie is filled with rage with good reason. Why are they all just shaking their heads and not speaking? Someone tell me, Jesus Christ, she yells. Her brother hangs up the phone and approaches her. Ethan and Xana didn't wake up. Maisie snorts. What do you mean they didn't wake up? Did someone drug them, poison them? It doesn't make sense. Maisie still doesn't think it sounds that bad, but her friend's reaction nag at her. Bethany is crying so loudly it feels like her life depends on it. Dylan is positively screaming and shouting something like, I can't believe someone would do this. Maisie has never much liked Dylan. She's histrionic in Maisie's view, and Maisie is irritated by it. Histrionic. I don't know what that means. Shut the fuck up, Maisie says to Dylan. It's really annoying. Wow, damn. Why do they all want to hug her? Maisie sits down with them. She sees Ava Wood, a blonde AFI, who lives in an apartment building next to the house, putting a blanket over Emily's shoulders and comforting her. Jack Decor, who Maisie knows as Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, is also with them. He seems confused, dazed. When he says he's Kaylee's ex, the cops seem to want to talk to him. They stick him in a cop car, but only for a few minutes. Maisie hasn't thought about Kaylee and Maddie, Xana's roommates. She doesn't know them really. She's focused on Ethan and Xana. What happened to them? The group just sits there watching the cops, waiting, hoping for an answer. That is better than the one they fear. Suddenly, it's 1:04 p.m. All their phones ping. It's another campus-wide alert, much worse than the first. Moscow PD investigating a homicide on King Road. Near campus, suspect is not known at this time. Stay away from the area and shelter in place. Oh my God. The group collectively burst into fresh tears. Maisie is struggling to grasp the reality of the words on the screen, but Emily loses it. The young cop has come out of the house and she lets him have it. How dare you send out a vandal alert before we know where our friends are? She screams at him. The officer replies with a stony calm that he does not feel as if he delivers the grim official life-changing news. All 4 of your friends are inside the house and they're all dead. Need my chapstick. Actually, I might get more. I just bought this. Okay, don't buy this. It doesn't last that long. I just liked it because it was mint. Hey, Wolfie. Welcome in. Hey, everybody. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I saw that one time. The puzzle piece thing. Judy, what are you talking about? The victims did nothing to dispel the dumb blonde stereotype. They made the dean's list every semester. Still no sound? That's so weird. That is so weird. Maybe if I just... Let me know if that's better. If it's not, I don't know. We'll still continue to breed. We're just going to switch. Let me know if you can hear. If not, I'll just take the microphone off. If you guys can't hear, I'll just take it off. No? Okay. So weird. I'll figure that out later. Okay. You guys should be able to hear me now. It might not be like the best audio because it's my iPhone, but it should be okay because it's an iPhone. Thank you guys for letting me know. I'll have to figure that out when Vincent gets home today. So that's my IT guy. That's all he is just an IT guy. I'm just totally kidding. That's my boyfriend. So Mount Vernon, Washington, chapter 47, November 13th. Stacy Chapin is filling her cart at the produce aisle at Hagen when she sees her friend Barb. It's a lazy Sunday. Her husband Jim is on his way back to the tiny condo in nearby Lake Connor they bought after they sold their big house in Mount Vernon. He's been at his workshop at the sawmill outside of Coeur d'Alene, a mammoth 6-hour plus drive away. Jim left at 8 a.m., so Stacy has plenty of time for a catch-up. She puts her basket down to exchange news with Barb when her phone rings and she sees it's Maisie calling. She figures no big deal. She'll call her back when she's finished talking. Although as she thinks about it, it is unusual for Maisie to call. Normally she texts her mother and they arrange a time to talk. Of all of her kids, the quickest to communicate is Ethan, from whom she's yet to hear this morning. which is odd. She texted Ethan a few hours ago asking him for photos from Maisie's formal last night, but he hasn't responded. Ordinarily, he's the first of her kids to reach out in the mornings, no matter how heavy the night before. And usually when she texts him, he answers right away, no matter the hour. It's like there's a psychic bond between them. Anyhow, no big deal. Stacy carries on talking. When she's finished, she sees that Maisie had called her multiple times. Now she's trying her again. Let me see. Okay. Where were we at? Sorry. Okay. This time Stacy picks up Maisie, she says, but it isn't Maisie. It's Hunter calling from his sister's phone. He's on speaker. Stacy can hear wailing in the background. Ethan's not here anymore, Hunter says. Stacy doesn't understand. Well, go get him. Hunter tries again. No, you don't understand. He and Xana aren't here. Stacy is growing impatient like Maisie. She doesn't suffer fools. So get in the car and go find them. What is that? Crying. Hunter says, Mom, you don't understand. They're not on this earth anymore. Stacy doesn't believe what her son is telling her. She abandons her cart in the aisle, walks out of the store, and calls Jim from her car. He's just dropping into Saget Valley. He's almost home. I think something's happened to Ethan and he's been killed, she says. Jim doesn't understand. He can't process, but he knows one thing, and so does his wife. Whatever's happened, they have to get to Hunter and Maisie. Right now, they have to get to their kids. Stacy and Jim Chapin meet at their condo in Lake Connor, Washington, and get into Jim's black Chevy Tahoe. They have a 6-hour drive ahead of them, and the Sunday afternoon traffic sucks. Hunter and Maisie call and tell them they're being asked to go to the police station and that they're handing over their phones to the cops, which means that for most of the drive, Stacy and Jim cannot reach their kids. Stacy feels as if she'll burst. Why aren't they hearing anything from the police, from the university, from anyone? She phones the emergency cell number for the university that parents of incoming students are given. She chews out the person who answers, asking why no one from the school is communicating with her about her son. The voice on the other end says that's because there's protocol with emergencies and the police are the ones in charge of situations like this. And perhaps the only time in the aftermath of her son's death, Stacy momentarily loses her cool. That's not good enough, she yells. She has no idea to whom she's talking. In that moment, she's not interested, but being Stacy Chapin, soon she wants to find him and apologize. For now, she wants the snarled traffic to move. All she wants is to get to Hunter and Maisie and tell them that no matter what has happened to Ethan, they are still a family and they are going to be fine. Stacy, the mother hen, is going to make sure of this. She is going to be there for Maisie and Hunter. She's going to be there for Ethan. Whatever has happened, she is going to be there for Jim. She doesn't have a clue as to how they are going to get through this, but she is going to do her damnedest to protect her blood. Family first. All the plans she and Jim had of traveling, retiring, those belong to the past. They are quite gone. Hunter and Maisie need to hear one message from her. Whatever happened to Ethan, they are alive and they are going to be fine. She will make sure of it. It's what Ethan would have wanted. Chapter 49, Clarkson, Idaho. Same day, November 13th, 2022. What a beautiful Sunday. Blaine Eccles, the UI Dean of Students, is nearing the Costco in Clarkson, near Lewiston, a 40-minute drive from Moscow. He's admiring the morning. He and his wife Shelley are doing the grocery run they normally do every 6 weeks. He's seen a vandal alert about an unconscious person, and he hopes whoever needed first aid received it and is okay. More than likely an alcohol-related mishap after game day, not unusual. But as they're about to pull into Costco parking lot, his phone rings. It's Tyson Barrett. Blaine, says the police captain, we've got 4 dead bodies and we think they may be students. What? Eccles gestures to his wife to go on into Costco. He sits in the car and speaks to the captain. We don't have it confirmed yet, but given the proximity of where they are to campus at King Road and their ages, it's a good chance they are. Call me back as soon as you know anything, says Eccles. Just like the police, Eccles has a checklist of what to do and whom to call. His first call is to the University of Idaho president, Scott Green. His line is busy, so Eccles suspects someone else. Tyson probably is giving him the news. Then he calls the provost, Tory Lawrence, and informs him. Jake Nichols, the director of campus safety, is temporarily unreachable because it will emerge he is on a boat on a river. Eccles leaves a voicemail asking Greg Lambeth, the director of the counseling center, to phone him as soon as possible. Lambeth, it turns out, is hiking in the woods. But the small group of people he can reach have an impromptu conference call, then decide to convene ASAP on campus. Eccles goes into the Costco and retrieves Shelley. He asks her to drive so he can set about putting things in order. Eccles is trying to stay one step ahead of what to do and what to set in motion. Barrett mentioned that the matter of deaths were suspicious, but Eccles has no clue as to how the 4 students, if indeed they are students, died. He wonders if it's drug related. More likely, he thinks they were shot. So when a bewildered, irate Stacy Chapin reaches him, he genuinely has nothing new to tell her. He doesn't know what happened, but even if he did, he explains it's up to the police, not him, to talk to her. He notes that she doesn't ask his name, that in her panic, she may not be aware that it's him. Eccles does not know Stacy Chapin, but he knows who she is. When you're the dean, you notice when triplets enroll. Doesn't happen every day, nor does a mass murder. Eccles started at UI in 2015, so he wasn't there for the previous horrific campus tragedy in 2011 when Katie Bennett was murdered by her professor, who then holed up in the Best Western, and when the cops tried to bash down the door, turned the gun on himself. Coward. Now, as the administrator huddled in a conference room, they have a whole host of questions to ask about, like security and how to beef that up, whether to cancel classes, and so for how long. For Eccles, the priority is student care. He needs to find out where the kids lived, whether they were members of a Greek house, so he can reach out. Tyson Barrett continues phoning him intermittently, and Eccles tells the captain that he will cooperate as best he can with any investigation. But what no one in that room of university leaders considers is something that will become a problem for Chief Fry and his officers. By deciding to cancel classes, they are effectively sending home thousands of possible witnesses, key people the police need to talk to. Fry later shakes his head in aspiration at this, wishing the school had asked him first, but part of being a cop is knowing that you can control only so much. The university is not answerable to him, and they need to make their decisions for their reasons, not his. Fortunately, there is another law enforcement agency that has branches all over the country and can get to out-of-towners easily. Fry knows he'll be calling it soon, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Chapter 50. I think we'll stop there. Because I think didn't we go from 20 to 30 to 50? So we did, 20 chapters. That's a lot of chapters. And I'm so sorry I didn't have the book one in the beginning for you guys. I'm gonna have to put a little note or something in. Wonder what I could put in. Maybe I could put it in I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure that out when we get off live. I'll put a card or something in there. You could do these little cards and stuff. So if you joined me over on TikTok, thank you guys so much for joining me. Sorry I had to do it into 2 lives. I don't know how to save my lives yet on TikTok, if you can even save them. I don't know if you can even do that, but I am going to try to save them for you guys. That way you have them for whenever you want to go back and look at them. So thank you guys for joining me today over on TikTok, and I will see you guys later this evening for the next reading of the book. So I'll be back on about 9:15 for you guys on TikTok. See ya. I hate that I have to go to my phone because I feel like I'm all up in the camera when I'm on TikTok. Okay. So yeah, we'll read. I'm like, what is that? I thought it was a light. It's just the book. You can't save it? That sucks, Mariska. I was trying to look earlier, and I was like, I don't see anything where you can save them. I want to save mine. I guess I could screen record myself, right? You can screen record. I am slacking, Tom. No, I mean, what? The last few days. I think I need sleep. I think that's what it is. I think I need sleep. I'm going to come back, though, later tonight, and I'm going to, read some more of the book. And then if anything comes out, like document wise, because they did say that they could be releasing documents like as early as today or tomorrow. You know, we'll definitely go over that. In the live settings. Okay, thank you, Swift. You have to download it. Okay. Live settings. I'm gonna write that down. Because I'm like, how do I figured you might be able to. So I'll look. And because I really don't know how to do TikTok, but I want to do more stuff over there just because I want to do like shorter videos, as well as like lives. You know what I mean? Like put things into like a 3-minute video or whatever I could fit. And I actually did a TikTok yesterday and I posted it. I think I posted it over here too. So yeah, I posted it on both platforms. It was just like, it was about reading the book. But then I did another TikTok and I haven't posted that one yet. And I don't know why my microphone wasn't working. It was hooked up. Like this was plugged in and it was on. This is blue. It's Bluetooth. It's on. And then the settings, it said like the settings said it was on. So I'm just really confused. And they're lit up, so I'm assuming they're charged. I think I might need to charge it. I'm gonna charge it. I don't know. Oh, they only keep them for 30 days. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know that like I didn't get to look and chat a lot. I don't like that. Were there any crazy people in the chat other than Judy? Oh, Judy. Hey, Texas Ranger. Yeah, she did. Yeah, you don't treat people like that. Yeah. I think Maisie's one of those direct people though, in a way, you know, like she's just that person. Like I'm like that. Like to me, I'm weird. Like I think like time is money. Like I don't know. Just my time, I feel like my time's worthy. I don't know. Everyone should think that though. I feel like everyone should think that about themselves. And like when you're trying to get an answer from someone, they're not giving you one. I could see her getting upset, but like yelling at like someone to shut up because they're crying. I mean, maybe Dylan was one of those people that I'm kind of seeing it like maybe she was a little over the top, you know, a little bit. Like she called them before, have them come check out the house, and a pan had fallen on the ground. You know what I mean? Like maybe she was just kind of like that friend. And so Maisie was just like, "Will you shut up?" Like, oh, she's crying again. Do you know, like one of those type of things? But I'm not taking up for either one. But I think that, you know, it's sad. It's sad anyway. Anywhere. But I know legalization. I was going to say I was going to say, well, and then she called Jim, and he was in the car. I don't think I would have done that. I would have waited. It said that Jim was almost home back in Skagit County, or Valley. Is it Skagit Valley or Skagit? Yeah, something, whatever it is. But he was almost back home. I would have just waited, probably. But she probably just couldn't because it's just something, you know, just something that you want to say. And they did hey, hi Pisces. They did do the book with the Chapin family. So I believe everything that's, you know, not everything in the book. I'm not gonna believe everything, but so I see it you know, in front of me. I'm one of those people, I gotta see it in front of me. Like I don't care about if it's in a book like this or not. I want to see like a document with it on there. But there are some things in here that I believe that are definitely true. You know what I mean? Oh, thanks, Nicole. Thanks for going over there. Someone sent me like one of those little gifts or something. I'm not a big fan of like those little gift things on TikTok though, where they put the little things on your head. It's like I'm trying to have a like you have a serious conversation and you got like a little, I don't know, a little monkey or something on your head or a little bear. I don't know what they are, but I like them, whatever they are. I mean, I know that they're points or whatever. So keep them coming. Yeah, legal AC. It's Becky's fault. Everything that damn Becky. Everybody that's name's Becky is going to be like, I didn't do it. Oh. Yeah, me too, Felicia. I went savage on my second channel yesterday. If you guys didn't watch that, full on. But Ishi said I did good, so I talked to her last night on the phone for like an hour after the live. She's like, "No, you did good." I was like, I just saw red for a minute. I was like, "Oh, we're letting out the demons today." I chose violence yesterday. I woke up and chose violence. I'm just kidding. I really didn't choose violence. I just wanted to say what I thought. I just have an opinion. Sometimes you want to put your opinion out there. And I don't do it often. I should do it more. So on the second channel, I was going to tell you guys before I got off here, we're going to start doing, I think some sort of like commentary sort of stuff. I've been watching this photographer and she will review, like old, like America's Next Top Model, like, videos, and she'll take like clips of them and she'll like play them. And looking back, like I watched that show growing up in high school and, maybe junior high and high school. I didn't realize how bad that show really was, like how crazy it was. So I thought, yeah, that was the Grifter live. It was a good live, I thought. Hey, I felt good afterwards. I went out to the pool and laid I was going to take a picture and post it. And I was like just I was like in pure bliss. I was like, I feel better. Oh my gosh, how did it go? Wandering Orphan. I hope it came back clear. They do model their lives after Illegal AC. So I thought it'd be fun to watch it. Just watch some clips and like just make fun of it. Like, because I know that we could do that with America's Next Top Model and you can play those. And then Ishi said that there's this one with like, there's this new show. Well, it's not new, but it's on its third season with like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And she was telling me all about that last night. And that like had my mind blown. And so I was like, maybe you can come up on panel sometime and we'll do it together. Hey, Red Mama, you're from Michigan? We're neighbors. I'm from Ohio. I don't know anything about ultrasounds. I don't have any kids. And I don't, you don't need to have kids that know about ultrasounds, but I've only had like one, I think, done. And that's just, because you're a woman. Oh, that's okay, Magamom. You're welcome. No problem. Oh my gosh. But diagnostic, there's no mass. So do they have to, are they testing it? Like doing a biopsy? It's on your abdomen? Oh man. Prayers. Yeah, I'm wondering, Orphan. Well, you want a panel? Okay, Tom. Yeah, we're gonna do that on my other channel too, and I'm gonna do like that channel is gonna be so freaking random. I feel like, but I'm gonna try not to do it so random to where like people are just like, what's this woman doing? But I even want to do like cooking and stuff, like cooking things, or like making drinks. I haven't made one summer drink yet this summer. Why haven't I? What the hell's wrong with me? That's what we need to do. Like summer drinks, like, alcoholic drinks without the alcohol, because I don't drink alcohol. I don't even think I could. Oh my God, I don't think I could. It makes me like physically ill to think about it. Oh. So like, I know that if there's like, you can have a mass, and it could just be like a mass, right? And it could be like non-cancerous. So I'm hoping that they're going to do some sort of like biopsy. That's what I would think, right? That's what they would do. Like they would see the mass, they would look at it with the ultrasound, and then they would, I would say, biopsy that somehow. And then a week later, you probably get the results. Or, maybe a couple days later. However, I don't know how long. They usually, actually, they probably have the results same day. I know some of my doctor's results will come in same day. Doubled in 3 months and you've lost 50 pounds. Oh my gosh, honey. Yeah, they got to get it out of you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll do a live over Long Island serial killer here soon. He doesn't have any court dates coming up, though, I don't think. That's who I wanted to look up. How can I forget her name? I can remember her daughter's name. I'm trying to, oh my gosh, I can't even think of his name. I'll have to think about it for a minute. It's the case that we followed, but it's been a while and there hasn't been any updates, and I've never went blank on someone's name before, ever. I'm completely blank. It's like, I'm so mad at myself right now. Let me see. I'm like, I'll try to look this up through did I save anything on it? I don't know. Okay, someone help me out. It's the woman that was killed by her husband. Narish Bat is his name. Okay, see, I just had to speak it out with you guys. Mamta Kafel Bat. I didn't even have to read it. I was reading his name and then I remembered it. Mamta Kafel Bat. Yeah, I'm gonna read tonight. I think I'm gonna come back home just for a little while so I can get to bed kind of early. I've been exhausted lately. For some reason, I'm waking up really early in the mornings. And so I'm just like, I don't know. I haven't been working out or anything. I need to start doing that again. I need to get my schedule back, on track. And I think I might even do a combination of day lives and night lives. So I was thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking yet. We may do lives, just continue every day like we normally do on this channel, but I do want to add 2 lives a month or more to the second channel, maybe more. And then a members live. So that's 3. So I may start doing lives over here, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, 5 times a week, but you know me, I can't take a night off. I don't know why. I just can't. I don't know why. Someone settle me. But yeah, so I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I can do the 2 over there on the other channel and I'm not exhausted, it's not affecting this channel, then we'll do it that way. But if it is and I'm getting super tired, then we'll just, cut it back to 4 or 5 lives a week, whatever. But I think I'm going to do a combination of day lives and then night streams. So I think the night streams will be more on the weekends, and then day streams more on the weekdays, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it all out together. Make sure that you guys can be here for them. Because it looks like all my analytics that you guys are, you guys are here in the afternoon and night. So I can take that. Hey, Evangelina, I was just getting ready to get off here. It's good to see you again. Oh, full-time gig with Spectrum for Friday and Saturday. Oh, for Friday nights. That's awesome, Tom. But we'll miss you, but we'll see you on the night lives. Yeah, I'm wondering, Orphan, me too. If you need anything, reach out. And my email's titaniumbillboo@gmail.com. I'm going to so Evangelina, for the first like 20 minutes or so, this group didn't tell me I didn't have the book up there for y'all to read. So I'm just reading to you guys like this with me on the screen. I wonder what I look like, because I'm probably like all into the book on like reading it. You guys are probably just like seeing that, like me just like looking at the book. No, I'm not Wandering Orphan. We actually want the dog that Araya bit. We like him now. He comes to the door. He used to bark at us and like not like us, but now he comes to the door and he's super cute. She had him in a sweater the other day, and I was like, he needs an eye patch. His little eyeball, like it's just so like sewn shut, and like he needs like a doggy eye patch. Speaking of she's right here laying in a little ball. Speaking of the crazy dog, she's sleeping. Oh. She's my baby. I don't care what anyone says. And we got a not guilty verdict over here, y'all. That's what happens when you say, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. And you dress appropriately for court. I wouldn't wear this to court. This would not be something I would wear to court. But like, the people in there in that courtroom that day they were all looking crazy. I've never been to like this courthouse, before. Like I've been to the one that I grew up in, like the town I grew up in. I've been in that one, just for things or whatever, but never here. No, I lied. I've been to this courthouse once for Araya, for the same dog. Because he kept biting people's faces. Oh, he's more well-mannered. Good. Yeah, there was I don't think it was Araya. I think it was Araya. Actually, I do think it was her, now that I'm thinking about it. Because Araya, my brown dog, she has this thing where she likes to just kind of nibble at you. It's not hard. It won't break the skin or anything, right? But she does that to other people. And I think she did that to my niece when she was little one time. But she didn't break the skin or anything, but it made her cry because she didn't, she was scared. And then it made me like so mad. And I was like, did you buy her, Riley? And Riley's just looking at me. And like, no one would tell me what happened though. Like, it was one of those situations. Everyone's just like grabbing the baby and like, oh my God, the baby. And I'm like, someone tell me what happened. Oh, really? Oh, really, Maga Mama? Yeah, that was fun going to court. Who does that? Who? Okay, I told her I was going to give her like $1,600, like the whole bill. I was going to pay the whole bill because I felt so bad. I was like, no, I'm going to pay the bill, even though it was your dog that ran out and my dog was on a leash. I was still going to pay the bill. Then she goes to the humane. She agrees with me. Cool. We're cool. We are cool. We're a gentleman's handshake. To me, I'm old school. A gentleman handshake is like a binding agreement. If you give someone your word, to me, that is a binding agreement. You better not go back on it, right? And she went back on it, went to the pound, tried to get my dog killed, then tried to sue me. But guess what happened? Not guilty. Thank you very much. I left that courtroom feeling very, very, very good. You hit your dog across state lines. See, I got really lucky. Like the judge was amazing. Amazing in this case. You know what I mean? Right? Without your word, you're useless. That's all you have is your word. And I take it very seriously. I really, really do. My mom taught me that too, but I think my dad instilled that into me. Like a gentleman's handshake is, you give someone your word, you do it, and that's me. Even if it's something I don't want to do, I'll still do it. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. I'll be back on later this evening. We'll read like maybe 10 more chapters of the book. That way I can get some sleep this evening too. And then later on this week, we'll be on the second channel. So, bye. See ya. She's like, I know it's time to go. I'm going to go and let them out to the side yard. The other one back here's awake. She's just staring at me. But thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate it. The dogs appreciate it. I'll see you guys all tonight. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you do on your way out. Please like the video. Oh, sorry. It's for the algorithm and it'll really help my channel. And I will see you guys all on the next live. Have a good day, guys, and see ya. Bye.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a